everybody. So good to see you. I'm Teacher Alice. I'm at MusiKinder Art School at Yishun, Singapore. That's right, we are at Singapore and we are doing a live Google Hangout. Yeah, as what you see that last week we talked about, we shared with students how you have smart learning in the exam, how you score high in your exam. Right, there are 4 portions we talked about last week. The first one is your exam pieces. And the second section we talked about is the scales and arpeggios. And the third is the sight reading. That's right. And the last section we talked about your listening, your oral test. And today we want to zoom in a little bit more on how your smart learning on your exam pieces, right? And as you know that the exam pieces, actually each of the students have to choose 3 pieces, right? They have to choose the 3 pieces. The first one is taken from list A, and then we have list B and list C. Now I have a question. Usually the pieces that is choose from list A is from the Baroque period, right? So who are the composer actually that you could see from the Baroque period? Any clues?
The list A usually is Bach, Scarlatti, Handel, and Couperin.
Yes, that's right. So what are the work usually the composer produce? What type of work actually the composer writes at the time they wrote?
Another choice of work from this period could be the dances. So you have the sarabande, jig, minuet, gavotte.
That's right. And how about from the list B then? List B, what are the works that usually you see? Because usually it is taken from the classical or the romantic work.
We have sonata, sonatina, écossaises, and bagatelle.
Then how about for romantic work? Some of these romantic work come with a descriptive title. For example, the first raindrop, the watch triste, the elephant, the bagpipe, and so on. And some of these titles actually give a hint or the clue of the atmosphere or the mood to be played in the piece, right? Correct? Yes. Right. Now how about we take a look at list C? So what are the pieces that you will see in list C?
Let's see, we have composers such as Kavalevsky, and Ravel.
Yes, very good. So you see that the pieces written at these different periods is very important. It will help the student have a hint of what actually you need to do. For list A, when you have the Baroque work, and usually the control of the finger work is very important. The clarity of the articulations, the control the dynamic on Paris dynamic, but imitation of the harpsichord playing. Control the coordination is also very important. One of the technical challenges that we see here is the stamina to play with running notes, and the playing, how you manage the use of the ornaments. And I think for the lower level students is how to keep the fingers, how to keep their hands in the exact ensemble. And there's more higher level playing of the part playing is getting very challenging, and sometimes they have to tackle some works on the polyphonic of like 2 voices, 3 voices, and sometimes they have to play the field for 4 voices as well. All right. So in short, I would say the structures or the hints of playing this piece, the period is like right texture, clear dynamic and phrases, as well the elegant style of the repertoire. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I have some young students, and as you mentioned, the Baroque pieces have a lot of ornaments that appear. Some of them, their fingers may not be able to run very quickly. So, what is the solution to that?
I have my students simplified them. Like from 8 notes, you play only 6 notes or 4 notes.
Wow, this is very smart, right? Correct. So let's say if the drill is like you cannot do the you say you can simplify it. Okay, either you simplify it or you can simply commit it on a normal level. At this level, a steady basic beat is more important. It's set a higher priority rather than the executions of the ornament. So I would advise for a young player, if you think that it's very challenging for you to play the ornaments, you let go the ornaments. Just play the melody, it's okay. Alright,
This work
so
students as well?
Oh yes, I think so. It's applied to all the instruments. Whether you play violin, viola, cello, double bass, or trumpet, it's all the same, right? All right. So how about on list B? Now we mentioned that just now the title, the descriptive title actually give a hint or the clue to the works, right? For example, when you talk about the first snowdrop, then you know the piece must be very misty, high with the snowdrop, right? Then you talk about elephant, I will expect the student to play with very heavy touch, depicting the very bulky, heavy elephant, right? And at this point, you see that the works actually given was actually from the two periods, the classical period as well as the romantic period, right? So classical period, very important for the student to play with the clarity of the sound, balance of phrase, and one of the very important features is the melody, homophonic playing of the melody against the accompaniment. At this level, most of the time the melody is on the right hand and the accompaniment is on the left hand. And the accompaniment pattern comprises of patterns of like broken chords and the arpeggios of the T-bass. So the student have to take note of the tonal balance, where is the melody. So you focus more on the melody and the shaping to play the musical phrases for the melody, right? As you move on to the romantic period, one of the very challenging things is to play expressive phrasing, because for romantic phrasing, it gets lengthy, it gets longer phrasing. So the students must learn how to breathe with the music. So they play the cantabile phrasing with more tonal warmth. The other thing I think is very important is also use of pedal. At the point of time, you think the use of pedal is very important and it's very helpful for the students to use pedal to add on to the sonorities and also for the legato choice. And more advanced levels, I would say the rubato have to be introduced. And the student must know how to play rubato, so they play with the freedoms of time. All right. So in all, I would say this for list B, the contrast of the tone color is very important. Right? So is there any questions from the list B or any challenges faced in this? We can take this time to dive
need to play
yes,
also
very
beautiful phrase. Question: What is the solution on how to play the pedal for the lower grade students, because they are still young, especially for grade 1 and grade 2 students?
Oh, actually, when we start with this, it's always very good to start with like some of the dances. When the student press on the first beat, they leave out on the second or the third beat. So that means this is very, very simple phrasing. There's no legato phrasing, pedaling. They use syncopated pedaling. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you can actually create some of the exercises for the students. For example, boom, chak, chak, boom, chak, chak. So you have the student use press up, press up, press up, press up. So you develop of the habit and the love of using pedal and love of listening and hearing this very beautiful tone, richer color with the pedal first before we work with, you know, like syncopated other pedaling, like legato pedaling, that where the student need to have the syncopated action, right? Okay, that's good. How about we move on to the list C? All right. So if we say that a lot of pieces chosen from this period is actually taken from the jazz, right? The jazz playing. So for list C here, it's very challenging, especially the student have more difficult rhythm. They need to have the feel of the beat and the colorful playing, evoking the various mode and the sound. Come to jazz playing, actually one of very challenging task for the student is that the note is notated as 4/4, but the student has to feel the rhythm as it is 12/8. That means this is da 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 da, but the student has to play da 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 da. So the student has to feel the song rhythm. All right. So another very important thing is that I want to remind the young player is that metronome marks for this period is usually original from the composer. So we take a closer look at the metronome marking. So you have to observe it carefully. Whereas for list A and list B usually is editorial suggestions. Right? Okay, I hope that this will give the tips to the young player, you know, what you need to do and how you prepare yourself for the exam. Is there any questions? Oh, by the way, you know, some of the young players say that do I have to play list A, B, and C in order? No need. You don't have to. In fact, you can have your free choice. You can choose what you play the best. Start first. You start with what you're best with. For example, if you're good at jazz, then you just start with jazz piece. You can start with C, then you play A, and you play B. Right? So I hope that the tips that we give here will help you to achieve better results. I will see you next week, and we will talk more about how you do well in each of these sections. Okay, this is Teacher Alice again at MusiKinder School at Singapore. Hope you enjoy the sessions. Bye.
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 Bye.